It's the final week of the fantasy regular season. Get these sits and starts or go home hungry. Welcome to Keepers. I'm Matt Ufford, and I'd like to wish you a very warm and happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you're well fed and surrounded by people you love, or at least people who tolerate your presence. For some of us, that's the best we can wish for. Oh sure, I rub people the wrong way. I guess it's my fault Aunt Karen drank the whole bottle of wine and complained about immigrants. Let's get to starts and sits. Start Keenan Allen. Allen has re-emerged since week 7, getting targeted almost 11 times per game, resulting in 70 yards per week and both of his touchdowns on the season. Listen, I get that he's burned you this season, but he's also going to burn the Ravens' depleted secondary. Play with your head, not your heart. Sit Andre Johnson. Here's what you need to know about Andre Johnson's fantasy season. J.J. Watt has twice as many receiving touchdowns as the team's supposed #1 receiver. Oh, and he hasn't cracked 70 yards receiving in over a month. Even with the Tennessee defense offering up some holes, I don't like this play. Start Ryan Tannehill. Not only has he played really well for the last month, he's about to face a Jets pass defense that's allowed 27 touchdowns and picked off just 3 passes. Those are basically Aaron Rodgers stats this season, as in the Jets essentially turned every quarterback they face into Aaron Rodgers. Jets. Sit Bishop Sankey. He's gotten plenty of opportunities this season, but has yet to gain more than 61 yards on the ground, and he hasn't hit 4 yards a carry in a game since September. Before the season, I picked him to be Offensive Rookie of the Year, and I want to take this opportunity to apologize for that. You've made a powerful enemy, Sankey. Start Jeremy Hill. Even with Gio Bernard back in the lineup, Hill got more carries last week than in any other game that he and Bernard both played in. He's already more likely to get goal line carries, throw in Tampa Bay's smallish defensive front, and I think he's the better Bengal to start on Sunday. Sit Jordan Cameron. He's likely to return from the concussion he suffered 5 weeks ago, but he's been a huge disappointment when he's played this season. Oh, and did I mention Josh Gordon got 16 targets last week? Sit Cameron versus a Bills team that's allowed only 1 touchdown to a tight end in their last 10 games. Start Mark Sanchez. The magic of Chip Kelly's offense. Sure, Sanchez is going to make a bad decision or two. He might even have something special to celebrate the 2-year anniversary of the butt fumble, but he's thrown for more than 300 yards in each of his 3 starts. 300 yards and 2 or 3 TDs is a great fantasy game no matter how you slice it, even if it comes with a couple of picks. Sit Ryan Matthews in Baltimore. No one has rushed for even 70 yards against the Ravens all year, and this one could get ugly with Haloti Ngata and Brandon Williams having their way with rookie Chris Watt, the Chargers' 4th starting center of the year. You likely did well to follow my advice last week, unless you took any of my advice about tight ends. I said to sit Delanie Walker, who had a season-high 155 yards, and to start Charles Clay and Larry Donnell, who combined for 2 catches. Clay didn't play at all, but in my defense, he aggravated an injury in practice after we had finished shooting. Yeah, that's excuses, I know. Speaking of tight end injuries, a very special thank you to Julius Thomas, who was a scratch for the late game Sunday, but only after the early games had kicked off. Hey, next time, can I get a little coffee with that donut? The closest we'll have to weather affecting a game is in Minnesota, where it's going to be a high of 18 degrees on Sunday. And that's the high. I don't even want to say the low. This is a family show. Unfortunately, there's no realistic chance of snow games this weekend. Listen, Buffalo, if you're going to have a weather disaster that shuts down the city, don't move the game. I mean, sure, the parking lots aren't clear and it'll be a municipal disaster, but think about me, the viewer watching from a warm living room unaffected by the snow. I want to watch snow fumbles and fat men freezing in short sleeves. It's my right as an American. Hire Pierre Thomas and fire Monte Ball. Thomas's per-game numbers are actually comparable to those of Shane Vereen. You'll love him in a PPR, and with Mark Ingram starting to look more like the Mark Ingram we're all used to, that should mean Sean Payton looks to give Thomas some more run. As for Ball, if and when he makes it back from his chronic groin issues, he may find himself number 3 on Denver's running back depth chart. Hire Brent Selleck and fire Owen Daniels. Selleck was mostly an afterthought when Nick Foles was playing, but much like Jordan Matthews, he's gotten more chances since Sanchez took over. He certainly looks more promising than Owen Daniels, who's been invisible in Baltimore's offense. Miss you, Dennis Pitta. Hire Charles Johnson and fire Michael Floyd. The Vikings' no-name has emerged as a favorite target of Teddy Bridgewater, picking up 18 targets and a touchdown over the last 2 weeks. You know who's not getting targets? Michael Floyd. I'm sick of having any kind of expectations for him. Just cut him loose, if only out of spite. Trust me, it'll feel great. That is all for week 13 of Keepers. May you survive this tough fantasy week as adeptly as you survived the long weekend with in-laws. Set your lineups. See you next week.